Welcome back to the drama, Love Next Door Episode 2. During high school, Seok-ryu invited Sang-hyo to work part-time. Sang-hyo felt that Seok-ryu was being worked on because it turned out that the work was too hard. But Seok-ryu felt that the work was useful because he could exercise while inhaling the aroma of meat. Sang-hyo felt that his friend was crazy and also optimistic. Sang-hyo couldn't stand it anymore and decided to end his part-time job. But Seok-ryu persuaded him to stay and not let him go. After getting her salary, Seok-hyo immediately went shopping. Sang-hyo wondered why she never had savings, because she always spent her salary. It turned out that she bought a gold brooch for her mother. And her mother was very happy when she got the gift. In the morning at Seok-ryu's family, Mrs. Misak prepares breakfast for her family. When Seok-ryu joins the dining table, her mother doesn't give her a bowl. Her father thinks his daughter looks thin, at least give her something to eat. But her mother asked about what Seok-ryu said last night. Her mother still doesn't believe that Seok-ryu is cheating. Maybe her daughter likes to do strange things, but not something like that. Seok-ryu explains that she is just bored because she has been working for the same company for too long. Then she thinks, will she get bored with her marriage too? So, she stopped both of them. Her mother was still holding back her emotions and asked about Seok-ryu's plan. What Seok-ryu would do, first of all, was to turn off the alarm and sleep as long as possible. She would also eat as much Korean food as possible and not do anything. She wanted to be a happy unemployed person. And Seok-ryu was serious about what she said, so her mother didn't let her get any food. When her younger brother woke up shirtless, suddenly the doorbell rang. It turned out to be Sang-hyo and Moim. When Moim entered, she immediately checked Seok-ryu's health, because she was very worried. While Sang-hyo brought pumpkin porridge for Aunt Misak. Then Mrs. Misak prepares a bowl for them. Seok-ryu feels that her family is very generous. Their daughter is left hungry, but the guest is given food. And Moim, with attention, shares food with Seok-ryu. Moim is still curious why Seok-ryu cancelled the engagement and quit her job. It turns out that she was told by Seok-ryu's mother to ask that. It really doesn't make sense, because an exemplary woman like her does something like that. No one lives as diligently as she does. Seok-ryu has competitiveness, courage, drive, achievement, thoroughness and persistence. So why would someone like Seok-ryu throw all that away and choose to go home? But Seok-ryu still didn't answer and Moim left because she was late for work. Suddenly Seok-ryu called Sang-hyo to come closer. She asked Sang-hyo to sit near her. But when Sang-hyo approached, Seok-ryu strangled him because he handed her over to her mother. Sang-hyo felt like he couldn't breathe and called Aunt Misak. And his aunt came in and hit Seok-ryu. She was very worried about Sang-hyo than her own daughter. People would think that he was her son. Then her mother asked Seok-ryu to bring rice cakes to Sang-hyo's office. Of course, Sang-hyo was happy because she had been cared for. Seok-ryu came to Sang-hyo's office with rice cakes. While Seok-ryu was waiting for Sang-hyo, she chatted with Myung-woo. Myung-woo was shocked when he found out that Seok-ryu was a childhood friend who lived in the same complex as Sang-hyo. He also invited Seok-ryu to come to the office opening event. The female staff wanted to know the story when Sang-hyo was still small. Then Seok-ryu tells in the summer of 1995. She saw Sang-hyo standing in front of her house and got to know him. He always hid behind his mother and made her think that she had to help the fragile child. Then, Sok-ryu invited him to play creatively. She protected and kept him clean when he was a toddler. Sok-ryu also created healthy food so that he could get the right nutrition. She influenced his social development in their peer group. Basically, Sok-ryu raised Sang-hyo.
끝까지 저라고 보시면 됩니다.
Sang-hyo came and kicked Sok-ryu out for spreading false rumors. He asked his co-workers not to believe Sok-ryu's story. Sang-hyo felt like she was the first crazy person he had ever met. He felt it from the beginning of their meeting. Sok-ryu was very aggressive, and it burdened him. But Sok-ryu never left him alone. Sok-ryu disturbed his peaceful solitude. She also harassed him when Sang-hyo urinated. She also gave him food that she didn't want. Sok-ryu called him a greenhorn and kept telling him to watch while playing. And all his money turned into ice cream and chocolate and ended up in her mouth. Sok-ryu felt like she was just helping him because he couldn't take off his pants. His co-workers felt like they were very close. They had never seen Sang-hyo act like that. There was the story of a novel that drives her crazy, namely the story of childhood friends.
유명우입니다.
When Sok-ryu was cooking on the roof, Moim approached her. She called Sang-hyo to come, but Sok-ryu forbade her. Then Sang-hyo came and joined them. Sok-ryu felt that Sang-hyo was ruining the atmosphere and told him to leave. Because Sang-hyo didn't bring a drink, Moim went to buy a drink and left the two of them. Sok-ryu thought that Sang-hyo was too busy to come. Because when he was at the office earlier it seemed like there was a serious problem. Sok-ryu guessed that Sang-hyo had a problem. But seeing the burnt food, Sang-hyo thought that Sok-ryu had a problem. Sang-hyo offered to cook, but Sok-ryu forbade him, because it hurt her pride. Then Sang-hyo asked how long Sok-ryu would hide it because they would ask the reason. At least don't tell An-misak for too long because she is Sok-ryu's mother. Sok-ryu felt that Sang-hyo was being told by her mother to ask. Then she strangled Sang-hyo's neck again until Sang-hyo was in pain. It turned out that Sok-ryu was fired from the company she worked for. Because she always worked alone and finished her work alone. They thought Sok-ryu was arrogant and selfish and never relaxed. And when she was down, her fiancé couldn't be contacted, even though Sok-ryu needed her the most at that time. She came to a party and saw her fiancé kissing another girl.
안 내리세요?
While on the road, Sok-ryu saw a pomegranate tree and bought it. She gave the tree to Sang-hyo as a gift for his office opening. Pomegranates symbolize abundance. Every time the leaves fall, his company will also wither. Sang-hyo thought Sok-ryu was cursing him and asked her to bring it tomorrow to the event. But Sok-ryu said that she couldn't come to the event because she had an important appointment. The next day, her mother looked for the brooch that Sok-ryu had given her before. Her mother wanted to wear it because her school friends would come and they were always dressed neatly. Then Sok-ryu helped her mother find the brooch. While searching, Sok-ryu found cosmetics that she had sent from the United States. Her mother didn't open it because she would wear for special occasions. But it's been a long time. It's not good to wear it after the expiration date. Finally, Sang-hyo's office opening ceremony begins. Sang-hyo asked about Sok-ryu's whereabouts because her mother came alone. Then Sok-ryu's mother and Sang-hyo's mother's school friends come. While enjoying their meal, they discuss Mrs. Misak about her daughter's cancelled engagement. They are curious about what the problem why the engagement was cancelled. Mrs. Misak explains that she was just being careful because marriage is a big thing. And when they tease her, Sang Hyo's mother defends Mrs. Misak. Because times have changed, there's nothing wrong with changing our mind. So don't ruin the mood and talk about something else. While in the toilet, they are still talking about Sok-ryu's cancelled engagement. And at that time Mrs. Misak inside and hear the conversation. They feel that Sok-ryu is not successful because her engagement is cancelled. Sok-ryu comes to Sang Hyo's office and looks for her mother. Sang Hyo feels that Sok-ryu is being chased by someone because she seems to be in a hurry. Since she has come, Sang Hyo will get a dish for Sok-ryu. Finally, Sok-ryu meets her mother and brings the brooch that she found. Her mother feels that people will gossip if they see Sok-ryu there, and Sok-ryu thinks that her mother is embarrassed because of her. Her classmates see Sok-ryu and greet her. Her mother says that Sok-ryu is just taking a break from her work for a while. And she will be recruited by a better company. She also says that Sok-ryu will return to America. Sok-ryu just keeps quiet when her mother says that. Sok-ryu comes home and goes straight to her room. She thinks her mother is very good at lying. Is it because she is afraid that Sok-ryu will embarrass her? Her mother didn't lie because Sok-ryu was going to America. Sok-ryu felt that her mother didn't like her being at home, so her room was removed. Her mother confirmed it and asked Sok-ryu to pack. Then her mother took Sok-ryu's suitcase and put it down. Her mother felt crazy because her daughter was like that. How could Sok-ryu do that after her mother raised her? Her mother didn't care how miserable her life was. Her mother was able to endure it as long as Sok-ryu lived well. Sok-ryu asked if cancelling the engagement and quitting work was considered a betrayal. Has her mother ever thought, has Sok-ryu not had enough sleep all this time? Or how rarely has she had fun all this time that she acted stupid? Can't her mother at least understand her feelings? Sok-ryu came back because of difficulties, because she always worked hard. So, can't her mother praise her hard work and tell her to rest? Her mother felt that Sok-ryu was her proud daughter, so don't waste the opportunity. But Sok-ryu felt, why should she be a sweetener in her mother's life? Sang Hyo saw Sok-ryu, who looked sad and looking for her. With her face covered by hair, Sang Hyo was surprised to see Sok-ryu on the swing. Sok-ryu acted normal back and climbed the climbing frame. She was surprised when Sang Hyo was already beside her. She still thought of Sang Hyo as a little boy who was afraid of heights. Even though now she is a tall man who is 34 years old. When she was little, Sok-ryu thought she would grow tall enough to touch the sky when she was an adult. Then it rained, but Sang Hyo only bought one umbrella and Sok-ryu closer to Sang Hyo so she wouldn't get wet. Suddenly Sok-ryu laughed because she remembered a funny story when she was little. When Sang Hyo was alone in the park and cried all night. And when Sok-ryu told another funny story, Sang Hyo just kept quiet. He folded the umbrella and asked Sok-ryu to choose one. Don't force laughter if you really want to cry. Hearing that, Sok-ryu cried. Mrs. Misak carries Sok-ryu's suitcase back to her room. While tidying up the blanket, her brooch fell, and she still couldn't believe what happened. She wore the brooch and cried alone in Sok-ryu's room. Sang Hyo saw Sok-ryu's makeup was gone and she looked bad. But she felt no need to appear beautiful in front of Sang Hyo. Sok-ryu felt that her mother hated her and she still hates her mother until now. According to Sang Hyo, your high hopes your beliefs, and your love for someone are related. So Seok-ryu won't hate someone she doesn't love. Suddenly they saw star falling and Seok-ryu asked to make a request. Sang-hyo hopes his company doesn't go bankrupt. He just takes big risks and is afraid of falling. They don't have new clients and the design fee hasn't been paid yet. Then Seok-ryu invites Sang-hyo to collect people who haven't paid his company by wearing a tiger print shirt. Sang-hyo feels that his friend is not normal, then Sang-hyo invites her to a food stall. He will try and face anything so that his company doesn't bankrupt. Because he didn't want to see Seok-ryu wearing a leopard print shirt.
우동 먹을래.
In the morning, Seok-ryu left with a document. And when she came home, she was surprised when she opened her room door. It turned out that her mother asked Sang-hyo for help to tidy up Seok-ryu's room. She called Sang-hyo to prepare Seok-ryu's room because she didn't let her sleep in the warehouse. Seeing her mother wearing a brooch, Seok-ryu was very happy. Her mother also cooked expensive food and Seok-ryu ate it with gusto. Seok-ryu was surprised to see the sky in her room full of stars. It turned out that Seok-ryu had decorated her room with star stickers in the past. She called Sang-hyo and wondered how he could make the stars so similar to the ones she had stuck on before. Sang-hyo also turned back time with the furniture in Seok-ryu's room the same as before. Then Sang-hyo asked Seok-ryu to close the curtains tightly. She opened the curtains and saw Sang-hyo in front of her. It turned out that Sang-hyo moved and lived across from Seok-ryu's house. Hearing that, Seok-ryu remembered when she fell and was caught by Sang-hyo. The love next door drama is getting more interesting. So, don't miss it.